Glad you're here. Welcome to Models and Agents, episode 72. It's June 6th, 2026. Plenty of model releases and agent benchmarks moving today. Microsoft just gained the freedom to build its own frontier models after a contract change with OpenAI, and the first MAI family is already shipping. Microsoft announced 7 in-house MAI models that cover reasoning, code, image generation, transcription, and voice. The models were trained from scratch on licensed data with no distillation from other labs. A large wave of open weight releases also arrived this week across large language models, vision language models, text-to-speech, and world models. Builders are watching how fast the new MAI models reach competitive levels on agentic and coding tasks now that Microsoft can iterate on its own. Microsoft revealed that a contract change roughly 6 months ago lifted prior restrictions on its AI superintelligence team. The team can now pursue superintelligence using its own researchers, data, and custom silicon. The first MAI family includes the 35 billion active parameter MAI Thinking One reasoning model, plus specialized models for code, image generation, transcription across 43 languages, and multilingual voice. All models were trained from scratch on commercially licensed data. They are available today through Microsoft Foundry with third-party weight tuning supported on OpenRouter, Fireworks, and Base 10. Enterprise customers can already use frontier tuning to customize the models inside governed environments. The move shows Microsoft building a vertically integrated stack while keeping its OpenAI partnership in place. On the Frontier Models track, this development adds a new independent player that can set its own release cadence and cost trajectory. Anthropic released new research showing that Claude Opus 4.7 matches or exceeds dedicated NMR spectroscopy software on molecular structure interpretation tasks. The work focuses on helping chemists understand molecular structures from NMR data before manipulating the molecules. Builders working on scientific tooling can now test whether Opus 4.7 can replace or augment existing NMR analysis pipelines without custom fine-tuning. DeepSeek V4 Flash is now runnable via an early llama.cpp pull request. Early users report strong intelligence for its size, along with native FP4 to FP8 hybrid quantization that holds up well. The model targets the 80 to 140 gigabyte local inference space. Custom 3-bit quants created to match the original tensor layout show reliable correctness despite slower speeds and missing GPU and FA support. This release continues the open weight models arc, where families like DeepSeek keep narrowing the performance gap with closed frontier systems. Google shipped Gemma 4 12b as a fully open, dense, any-to-any model. It supports text, image, audio, and video with 256 kilon context and coverage of 140 plus languages. Quantization-aware training variants of the Gemma 4 family deliver speed and VRAM gains on AMD hardware with no measurable quality loss versus standard quants. NVIDIA released Nemotron 3 Ultra, a 550 billion hybrid Mamba MoE model with 55 billion active parameters. It offers 1 million context and a reported MMLU of 89.1. An NVFP4 variant claims roughly 5 times throughput on Blackwell hardware and is described as the first openly weighted 550 billion hybrid Mamba transformer. Alibaba positioned Twen 3.7 Plus as a multimodal model built to function as a full autonomous agent, rather than a chat interface. The release emphasizes agentic capabilities across modalities. Developers exploring agent frameworks should test whether the model's native agent behaviors reduce the need for heavy scaffolding compared with prior Twen releases. This sits squarely in the agents and tool use track, where the open question remains how reliably long-horizon agents perform without extensive scaffolding. RedNote open-sourced dots.tts, a 2 billion parameter continuous text-to-speech model under Apache 2.0. It performs direct text-to-speech at 48 kHz with zero-shot voice cloning and skips the traditional phoneme pipeline entirely. Teams building local voice agents now have a fully open continuous alternative to codec-based TTS stacks. A new modular agent called OpenLumara was released with a roughly 4K token default system prompt and full modularity down to core features. It includes built-in security controls such as sandboxed shell access and HTTP black and white lists. The project is designed for local models, runs efficiently on modest hardware, carries a GPL2 license, and is available on GitHub. Simon Willison released MicroPython WASMs, an alpha PyPI package that runs MicroPython inside a WebAssembly sandbox. It enforces memory and CPU limits, controlled host function access, and no file system or network access by default. A CLI mode lets users try it immediately with the command uvx micropython wasm/c print hello world. The package targets safe plugin execution inside Python applications such as Dataset. Users running Gemma 4 models on an AMD 7900 XTX reported that quantization-aware training versions deliver 1.3 to 1.5 times speedups and meaningful VRAM savings versus standard quants. The 12B QAT variant cut generation time by 45% with identical constraint-following behavior on long context and creative tasks. A user running Chwen 3.627B on an RTX 5060 Ti found that enabling the NKVO flag to keep KV cache in RAM allowed the full model to stay on GPU with F16 cache precision. The approach trades a modest tokens per second drop for higher context capacity and better cache quality than quantized KV. It proved useful when fitting larger context windows without dropping layers. Okay, let's pop the hood on KV cache quantization. Everyone talks about it as a simple turn it on and save VRAM toggle. In practice, it is a precision versus throughput negotiation that depends on model architecture, context length, and downstream task. Attention keys and values are not equally sensitive to quantization. Value vectors often tolerate lower precision better than keys because they are summed rather than used for similarity lookups. Lower bit KV formats therefore introduce small per-token errors that accumulate across long contexts. That is why some teams see reasoning degradation only after 32K to 64K tokens, even when perplexity looks acceptable. New methods such as kvarn attempt to close this gap by learning per-channel scales that preserve the distribution of important value dimensions. They deliver Q5-level KLD at roughly 4-bit storage in early llama.cpp tests. Aggressive KV quantization can still hurt multi-step agent trajectories more than single-turn chat because small embedding drift compounds when the model must maintain consistent state across tool calls. When you are running agents with 50K plus context or long horizon planning, keep at least 5 to 6 bits on the value cache unless you have measured task-specific tolerance. For shorter chat workloads, the memory win is usually worth it. This engineering detail directly informs the reasoning models track where cost versus benefit remains an open question. Install MicroPython WASM via UVX and test a simple sandbox script to see whether it meets your plugin or data transformation needs without full Python privileges. Run the early DeepSeek v4 Flash llama.cpp build on a model you already use for coding or reasoning and compare output stability against your current quant. Test Gemma 412B QAT versus the standard Q4 KM quant on your longest context workflow to measure the real speed and VRAM difference on your hardware. Try dots.tts2b for any local voice agent project that needs zero-shot cloning without a separate phoneme step. More labs are expected to follow RedNote's continuous TTS approach now that a fully open non-codec pipeline is available. Microsoft's frontier tuning environment will likely see additional enterprise case studies as more customers test MAI models on proprietary workflows. Further, llama.cpp and VLLM support for the new hybrid Mamba MOE and sparse MOE models should arrive as the current PRs mature. Tomorrow, keep an eye on additional open-weight audio and video model releases following this week's cluster. That's Models and Agents for today. If you found this useful, share it with someone who's trying to keep up with all these changes. And subscribe so you don't miss tomorrow's update. The AI world moves fast. We'll help you keep up. See you tomorrow. And before you go, this show is part of the NARA Network, a family of daily podcasts covering tech, science, markets, and more. If you enjoyed today's episode, give Fascinating Frontiers a listen. The most fascinating news from space and science. You can explore the whole lineup at neuranetwork.com. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.